Yes, okay. So I'm Morten. I'm a professor of digital education, but I'm also just a school person. I like schools and educational institutions, and I research this. And the work you do with technology in order to learn stuff. And the last 10 months or something like that has been like a ball, because all these generative AI has come out, and you play with it. You've all played with it, right? So you know what that is. But you also have all the problems. I mean, how are we going to do exams? What is it actually important that the student can do? I mean, is it so important that they can write like this very nice letter with all the words spelled in the right way and so on? And it's like a robot's work now, right? Do they actually need teachers? I mean, they can go and have a nice dialogue with ChatGPT, and it can play like Socrates or something like that, and they can learn from that. Also, on the more serious side, there's a lot of potential for creating educational scenarios and exploring educational scenarios that can build on these technologies. So you can really improve educational situations, and also there's some sort of democratization of what it means to read and write that's going on here, right? So these are some of the problems. I came to think about these things because we all have our own experience, right? And I've been researching the use of advanced calculators for 20 years inside high school and stuff like that, right? And this guy here, maybe this doesn't work, but this guy over here is a little app where you can like take a picture of a math problem and have the solution, right? So you can just make the math in a sense go away. Super nice. You take a picture, it does the solution. You copy the solution. Everyone is happy, right? On the more serious side over here, we have Wolfram Alpha. I guess many of you know the tool. You can solve math problems very easily. It understands like natural language. You write the problem, you get some sort of solution. You can even pay a little fee and get all the calculations that your teacher will need, right? So these type of tools has been around for 20 or so years in math education, and researching that or following that, there has been like some sort of a hype curve, and maybe not even so. In the beginning, when these tools came around, Maple in the late 90s and so on, a lot of educators were like, yeah, this is, now we nailed it. Now we can do math on a conceptual level and don't have to sit around. To a large degree, this has been, this discourse has changed a bit to be more like, what the fuck is going on here? Why? But this kids are just, I mean, what does it take to pass high school in Denmark? SOLVE bracket start, whatever. What's the problem? Bracket end of story, right? You a lot of the interesting part of mathematics has disappeared here. So there's a lot of disappointment that has been going on for the last 10 years, and also there's the debate about whether or not to use such tools is to a large extent political. You can hear me, no? Okay. Exams is a huge problem in mathematics now. The solution that we have in a Danish high school, I guess you know it, right? It is that you have part of the exam without any aids, and you have some of the aids, right? So we will see more of that, I think, and all the co-learning, in a sense, of algebraic skills and being able to solve equations and so on, that were kind of, you could take for given before. You need to address them more explicitly. So why am I telling this story? Oh, very, very important last point. Over the last 15 years, a very, very sophisticated language of distributed cognition has become like high fashion in math educators, in the community of math educators. So they talk about the interplay between the tool and the user, and are you using the tool like as a hammer to make the math go away, or as a like a something to study the math in more depth. So has been a big development here, and I'm telling the story because we will see the same thing. I think there's a clear parallel between the math student that are solving all its problems by a computer algebra system, and a future educational situation where there's a wrong, in a sense, use of a generative AI, where the students use the generative AI to just make the problems disappear, right? So there's, in a sense, a number of ways we can go about thinking about this. There's the testing problems. How do we test skills with AI? That's a huge discussion right now, and how are we going to do it? And how are we going to make sure that we address the well-being and loneliness problem, and are, in a sense, pragmatic and positive towards technology in this same situation. So there are like different ways to go about this. So let me end with the important educational phenomena. The alignment between learning objectives and assessment. It is something, it's like an old pedagogical point, but it's like super important right now when we use these tools. What are we actually trying to teach, and how can we test this with the tools? Attention and learning, I think we are looking into some sort of a concentration and attention crisis when you can distribute many of the tasks to robots in educational situations. Where do you put your attention? This is important. This is a skill that you need to learn. Also, we are looking at some sort of a change in the educational economy of text. This is super important for many of our topics, especially humanities and social science. The ability to create a well-formed text is not a guarantee for people understanding what is going on anymore. I mean, we cannot test like this anymore. And also a huge potential in developing a richer learning space. You can create a little robot that makes you talk to like a guy that doesn't exist anymore, and so on. And that is, of course, super interesting for educational purposes. Also, having a tutor, like a helper, all the time. What is the next step that I'm going to do? I mean, a robot can handle that very nicely with generative AI. So I'm envisioning that we will very soon see like group work coaches and so on that are developed on the top of generative AI. Yeah. Okay. One last point. A bunch of universities have made like rules and regulations and so on. We all have to handle this somehow, and this is just a very good one from Cornell University. They say rethink the learning outcomes. I mean, this is in a sense for dummies, but it's important. Rethink the learning outcomes. Address the ethical concerns overtly. Ethical both in terms of bias and so on, but also in terms of honesty. What has been created with like a chat robot here and so on, and have explicit policies. And these can be different. I mean, you can prohibit it, in a sense, I think we still do at our university, or you can encourage it, or you can make more specific rules. And again, different topics, different concerns. Computer science is a good example, one of the examples that is fleshed out here. And it's actually, there's a lot of potential in using generative AI in computer science. Okay, so going forward, look at the interdisciplinary synergies. It is different things that we need to do in different disciplines. We need, in a sense, to go back to the core of what is this discipline about when we make decisions about how to use AI in teaching and learning. Curriculum innovations, we need to change the curriculum. And explore the possibilities. And of course, you cannot make future-proof education, but you can try to in a sense, take in the tools and not not make educational policies that kind of take the students away from the world. So these were some inputs about the use of AI in education. That's it.